This day, 17th of May, is a very important day for our country. So this is celebration of our constitution, which is adopted more than 200 years ago, in 1840. You can find many people in our city wearing national clothes with flags, and the biggest parade you can find in our country here in Bergen. So that's why Bergeners, citizens of Bergen, we think that our city is still the capital of Norway. Yeah? So our city was the capital of the country many centuries ago, from 1070 until 1299. And our city preserved national spirit, national type of vernacular architecture, and also a place where you can find traces of German trading Hanseatic League, the richest trading society in Europe in medieval centuries.
Welcome everyone. We did not expect such a fantastic turnout, but what we wanted to do, this is a little exercise and exercise that we like to do whenever we hit a very interesting town, and Tromsø is probably the last town that we're all going to be together in before we arrive in Longyearbyen at the end of the expedition. So what we're going to do is imagine ourselves, all of ourselves collectively, as being on a little assignment for Geographic, one of the print magazines. And we think it's really interesting that Cici and I will be walking around together with you and sharing with you kind of what's going on in our mind as we see pictures. We're going to be looking for detail shots. We're going to be looking for overall scenes that, because in a magazine spread, you want to show a spread, you know, kind of what the whole place looks like. So you're looking for that iconic lead photograph that really describes what your impression is from this part of the world.
Oh, I'm taking some shots. Sissy and Cotton are helping us out, getting some photos in Tromsø. They've got some great ideas for us.
You can see the rocks right down there, and he's still moving forward.
Can you get a leaf?
Oh, get a leaf.
What's going on?
Captain Oliver has brought us in within grabbing distance of the cliffs. Really fantastic. And we have one of our wonderful naturalists who reached out and is now adorned with the beautiful leaves of the trees reaching off the side of the cliff, and here she is, a leaf block. Doesn't she look great? It was fantastic. He brought us right in, literally within touching distance of the rock. Truly unbelievable.
Fjord is a very special place. It's only about 1 kilometer long and about 100 meters wide. Dramatic cliffs rising up to 3,000 feet on one side of it. We go in here because it's a spectacular fjord, and it's also a place where the captain can show his skill and abilities with maneuvering the ship, going in through this narrow entrance, turning around, and then approaching the sheer wall of Fjord and allowing a princess to pick a piece of mountain ash off a branch hanging over the fjord. Basically, the captain has shown us what boys with big toys can do.
When you do go out and do things that you've never done before, you learn that life isn't the way it is for you that it is for everyone else in the world. Everyone has a different experience. in life. And I feel like sort of stepping out of that comfort zone that you've developed, that sort of bubble, is really necessary to see the bigger world. I feel like traveling, going into nature, it just makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger than just you or a few other people.
Actually, we found it because we were searching for a cool place to do a hike and go ashore. And if you look at the map of the Vesterålen, you see that there is roads everywhere, and the same in the Lofoten. They go all along the coastline, and this was pretty much the only fjord which had no road access to it. So it was a wild fjord. So we just decided to pull in here, and I found it was one of the most beautiful places in Norway for me, and I'm happy that I could take such a large group on this very difficult hike, and that so many people actually made it up. We lost only 4, so considering that we left with so many people, with so many folks, and I'm pretty happy that we got so many people up here. I will be even more happy when everybody is safely down.
That's right.
That's what we are. That's the next challenge. But so let's have a little snack, I would say.
So as the youngest person on board the ship, I was given the honor to hang off the bow and pull this branch as the captain pulled us into Fjord. It was slightly nerve-wracking, but Kieran assured me that he would not let me fall overboard. Thank you, Kieran. And then I presented the branch to the captain, and he's letting me keep it as a souvenir. And it was quite an honor to follow this tradition.
This is exciting. We're here in the middle of Fjord, and this is kind of a historic moment. Both the National Geographic Explorer and the National Geographic Orion are here. This fjord is so special because it's so narrow, with hardly enough room for one ship to pass through, and the both of them just happening to be here at the same time, on the same day. It's just fantastic, and to get images of both ships next to the waterfall. And we did the age-old Lindblad tradition of the youngest person on board the ship plucking a leaf from a bush on the side of the fjord. It's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I was really amazed at the extent of the fjords. I had always thought they were just these little bays that went in, and no, they go for miles and miles, and it's really beautiful scenery all the way in and out.
And the water is clear and it's deep. So at one point we had to actually moor the boat right up practically against the end of the fjord. What for me has been the most amazing part of this trip has been how much we've been out in the woods without tourists and other kind of traditional commercial activity going on. We've really been in the natural environment that most of the Norwegians actually have the good fortune to live in if they're in the fjords. And we've also been able to see the fjords from the boat, from a Zodiac, or from a kayak, or on foot. And so you've had an opportunity really to choose how you want to experience Norway. And I think that that's a big benefit for the kind of small groups that we've been in. It's been a learning experience, both with the naturalists and also just from a visual perspective.
Today we made it to Rena in Lofoten, and it is one of my favorite places ever. I think Lofoten is incredible, photogenic and beautiful, and I love the way that the mountains are rising right out of the ocean. It is a lovely opportunity for photography. Just look around you right now when we're seeing the dried fish up on the racks. I mean, the whole way that they make for wonderful perspectives. You just look down these long alleys and there's a fish hanging. And we're seeing something today that I've never seen before, mainly that they're taking down the fish from the drying racks down there. That is new to me, and that's a real opportunity. This is one of the big fishing grounds, and it has been important for Norway for thousands of years. This is where the fishermen go out in their small vessels out into the ocean. You have to admire them because they went out and it was really tough. But this is what it's all about.
We've landed at Jan Mayen Island. We're some of the few people who've actually landed here in all of these years, so this is really exciting.
Well, we are extremely fortunate today because we've been able to land on Jan Mayen Island, the northernmost island on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Northernmost of a whole series of islands in Iceland and the Azores, and they're all volcanic. This is obviously wonderful volcanic history that's displayed here. There are lava flows, there are ash beds, there are big tephra piles, some of these cinder cones that we're walking on back here represent thousands of years of eruptions, but this is still an active volcano. It's still erupting periodically. This is only the second time Lindblad Expeditions and National Geographic have visited this island. The first time was on Polaris years ago when we came here one night, in I think 1990 it was, but we haven't been back. It's a very remote place and just difficult for us to get to, and when we get to it, it's difficult to get ashore. But today we have perfect conditions, nice, calm day, everything worked.
Oh, it's amazing. You just think that it's a place where very few people have set foot. So there you are, one of the first ones that comes and explore. I think it's fantastic.
Welcome aboard to our fantastic voyage to the Norwegian fjords and Svalbard. This expedition is almost 2 voyages combined, as we explore the magnificent fjords in southern Norway, followed by the Great White North of Svalbard, where we hope to see the infamous ice bear.
Our trip will be divided in 2. We will be starting by exploring the intricate ecosystem of the Norwegian fjords. And then we're going to end in Svalbard, the land of the polar bears. This is going to be a trip to remember.
I've been traveling in Norway and up to Arctic Svalbard for more than 20 years. And what's amazing about this geography, about this location, is the diversity from the scenery to the people of Norway.
This is the codfish capital of Norway.
To the wildlife, to the ice and the mountains of Svalbard in the far north, where we'll be searching for polar bears, walrus, and other Arctic wildlife.
This place is just gorgeous.
It's not like anything I've ever seen.
We'll explore both by the ship and with zodiacs, or our fleet of kayaks to explore from water level.
All right, we're away.
We'll visit remote fjords.
Nature here is astonishing.
We'll take walks on shore exploring the tundra.
All right, we're welcome to a beautiful day.
The expansive views of the tall, jagged mountains.
Blue sky, beautiful clouds.
Staff has spotting scopes. We're all using binoculars.
It must be a big male.
And of course, our passionate staff, crew, and officers who are doing everything they can to make it the best expedition possible.
Oh. There you go. That's what you want.
Best vacation ever. It's exhilarating. It makes you think.
To experience it fully, to know what is the place, to really understand how the environment works, how all these animals have to survive. But you wanted an expedition, and that's what you're here for.
One thing about the Arctic that makes it such a special place is the unpredictability.
It was an amazing thing how close that bear was to us. And everyone has been very, very quiet.
Look how lush and green it is.
There's plenty of reindeer here on Svalbard.
I think it is mind-opening to come to places like this.
Everywhere that you looked around the ship, there were whales, and like, where do I look? Do I look over there? Do I look over there?
It's an incredible concentration of Brunic guillemots.
Doing the very thing that we came to do during this expedition, to explore.
It meant that places I've been looking at on a map since I was 5 years old, I finally got to find out.
That's what Nat Geo offers, just a whole other experience.
So welcome to Stroyoya. High in the Arctic, the land of the midnight sun. The magic of the evening is that there's walrus, the tooth walkers, both on land, on ice, and in the water.
They're very widespread. The walrus, there are two populations of them, one in the North Atlantic and one in the North Pacific. And this is, of course, the largest pinniped found in this area. It's a population that has held pretty steady for a long time here in Svalbard, but in recent years it has grown tremendously. And there are several haul-outs, traditional haul-outs, and we've even found a couple of new ones that the walruses have established themselves in the last couple of decades.
It's a pretty incredible thing to see the second largest pinniped in the world. What I think takes most people by surprise when they see the walrus for the first time is their size, and they are massive.
This is just amazing. Like, you know, this is one of those National Geographic moments where you're actually here.
It's right in front of us.
Well, at first I just wasn't sure how close it would be. We were looking at it from afar, and it was walking away a little bit and then coming towards us. And it seemed very curious about the boat, and then it started coming towards us, and it got so close, and I just kept on thinking, I can't believe I'm this close to a polar bear.
I would describe it big and cream colored and curious animal, and it's so, I don't even know how to explain it.
They kept on looking around at us. I think it heard our cameras and wanted to see us. And then it got on its hind legs and sniffed around and looked at us. I don't know if it thought we were food or just fun. But I think it was showing off for us. It kind of shook around a little bit, and oh my gosh, it was amazing.
It looked like it was sniffing like it's sniffing the area around it and looking up, and it started standing on its hind legs.
Isolated and cold and remote and full of very interesting geography and wildlife. I'm in Arctic Svalbard, which is an archipelago of islands north of Norway, which is kind of surrounded by a lot of nothing. And it's a really interesting place. And I'm here as a Grosvenor Teacher Fellow aboard the National Geographic Explorer.
On this expedition, I've learned more than I thought I would about the geography of Svalbard and all that comes into it, the wildlife, the geologic history, the human component, the exploration that has taken place here, just helps to instill a profound appreciation for this landscape that, to be honest, I only knew a little bit about myself.
I'm standing in front of the third largest ice shelf in the world. And it's amazing! It's like 100 miles by 100 miles. That's 10,000 square miles. That's amazing. Probably gonna be out here for some time watching it go by.
It's like a classroom being here. It's just an amazing learning opportunity.
If you have binoculars, you get a good look at them. They're really colorful, sort of clown-like birds, and we don't see a lot of them here. They're not super abundant in Svalbard. They're definitely a target. Ah, right there. That's what's cool about puffins.
Yes.
See?
Oh, yeah.
I picked the wrong side!
Bringing back first-hand experience is an amazing thing that I can be able to share with my kids, like my photos, my stories. That's really an important part of connecting and engaging a classroom of children.